You will never guess what I got for Christmas. Norovirus. And yeah, it was the pukey kind. So I spent my entire Christmas in bed praying that my life would end while watching like 4 seasons of Degrassi. Seriously, I watched so many Degrassi episodes that I'm up to the part in the series where they ran out of ideas for all the characters, so they just made them all gay and pregnant. I mean, who am I to judge? I guess I am technically one of those things. I'm not going to tell you which one, but let's just say I'm expecting something.
Hey, nice thing, man.
Wait, I don't want y'all to think that was some kind of actual announcement. The only children allowed in my house are ones that are incapable of spreading disease and pestilence. Pestilence? Anyway, let's look at all the doll crap I got for Christmas. All right, you might notice that things look a little bit different than they do normally, and that is because I'm not at home. I'm actually still at my parents' house because I'm literally like finally a human again today. I've been basically a living dead girl for the last week. So it does feel a little bit good to finally be able to make videos and actually talk without feeling like my insides are going to be in the toilet in 2 seconds. So I guess some of y'all might have emetophobia. I should probably cool it with the norovirus references, but yeah, it was pretty terrible, I have to say. So yeah, I'm at my parents' house, and number 2, I haven't actually seen y'all for like 2 months. So I know the videos have been a little bit sparse, like towards the end of the year, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's absolute chaos in my life right now, and I am actually staying at my parents for a little bit longer than the average person. I'm here for a few weeks, so I had to do a lot of pre-filming and stuff, and I just couldn't get as many videos done as I wanted to. So my uploading schedule is a little bit off between that and like basically having the plague for a week. So yeah, the videos probably through like mid-January might be a little more sparse than normal, but hopefully they're still good and you enjoy them. If you're missing me a little bit, be sure to check me out on Patreon. I'm still posting there pretty much weekly. So yeah, if you need a little bit more of your old pal Jonathan, you can catch me over there. It's a really great way to support this channel. But yeah, it's just been, look, a really weird year for many of us. 2024 was not particularly my favorite year. I'm glad that it's over, but I guess, you know, without a ton of rambling, I know you just wanted to see some doll stuff today. I got some pretty cool things for Christmas because American Girl, as usual, was doing a really big end of year sale. Although I will say I don't think it was as good as last year's because I didn't spend nearly as much as I did like on the one last year. I swear I spent like $1,000 last year, but I did pick up a few things and I did get a doll. So we're going to see a doll today. But yeah, hopefully you don't mind the video looking a little bit plain. I'm like basically in my childhood. Well, I shouldn't say childhood. We moved into this house when I was like 16. So basically my high school bedroom, and it's, you know, doesn't look exactly like it used to. All the like Hole and Riot Girl posters are taken off the wall. I guess my mom got sick of looking at that, and like Marilyn Manson, because I was like an absolute freak in high school and middle school. So yeah, like I said on Patreon, I'm just grateful that there's still a bed in here and this isn't a Pilates studio. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to look at behind me, just a boomer taupe solid wall. But yeah, let's go ahead and just tear into some things. I'm going to show you some of the like less interesting stuff to just kind of get it out of the way really quickly, but I'm sure you wanted to see everything I got, so why not look at some of the boring stuff too, starting with something that you probably already have by now if you want it. But I was trying to get Courtney's complete collection, and after a couple of years, I finally have it all. So there were 2 pieces left that I needed to get, and I was just waiting for points to accrue. So I finally picked up, I just realized I actually don't have her entire collection now that I'm saying it. I have everything that's available for sale. So I bought this and her pajama set, which I don't even know where the pajamas are, but I really do love this strawberry shortcake set. This was the one that was that they released to replace the Care Bears set that they retired for some inexplicable reason. And I'm sad that they did. I actually like both of them, and I still need to pick up the Care Bears set, but I've got to buy it on eBay, and you know how that goes. You can never find anything like that for like that great of a deal typically, especially new. So yeah, it's been kind of a couple of years of searching because they retired it like right as I was getting ready to buy it. So yeah, this is basically exactly the same as the Care Bears set. As far as like the make of everything, it's just, you know, they swapped it for the strawberry shortcake IP. So yeah, I have probably about as many memories of strawberry shortcake as I do Care Bears, and I loved both of them when I was a kid. So super nostalgic. I think this is really great. I'm actually going to put it on Courtney's bed that's on my normal display that's behind me for, most videos that you see. So, yeah, this will probably get seen by many of you in many videos to come. But yeah, this I thought was just a fun set to finally almost complete my Courtney collection. Another really random dumb thing I got was this Kirsten, I guess it's a coffee tumbler. I don't know, a cold and hot drink tumbler. I don't know. I don't use these things, but because I don't drink, like I don't take drinks with me to go. I work from home, so I just drink out of like my normal dishware. And I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't particularly like it, but I am a tea head. So yeah, I bought these basically as collector's items. So I do have Molly and Samantha's back at home, and I think these just look really great with the vintage Pleasant Company displays that I have. So I went ahead and picked up Kirsten's while it was still available because I think I've seen it go like in like low stock sometimes, and I don't know if they'll restock this stuff because they stopped carrying the journals. Sadly, I actually went to the American Girl store in Charlotte, RIP, that's closing soon. So I was hoping to pick up the remaining journals that I didn't have that I wanted, and they were sold out. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. This is all, I guess, not really like that serious in terms of collector stuff. I just think it looks really good on the displays because it has the iconic patterns on them. And I don't know, it just adds some extra dimension. And one of these days, I want to figure out what to do with them. If, I mean, I guess they can just sit on the shelf, but it might be kind of fun to try and turn them into lamps or something. I mean, I know that's very like Aliens Craft Channel from like 1997, but I think it would be really fun to like actually do something with them to give them like a little bit of an extra purpose. So maybe I'll turn them into some like really crunchy lamps. Y'all, I know that I always like talk about my appearance and hair in every video, and I know it's very annoying, but I need a haircut really bad. I know this is starting to look a little bit crazy, but I saw that Donald Trump got a haircut like the other day, and y'all be honest, does this look like Donald Trump's new haircut? Because if it does, like maybe I'm gonna dye it purple or something. Let me know in the comments. Should I dye my hair like purple for 2025 and I'm just gonna spend the second half of my life with fantasy hair? We'll see. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just working with what I got. And something else that I got was something that I've actually really been wanting for quite some time, basically ever since American Girl released it. I think maybe like a year or two ago. It's been around for a while, but they finally, after years of me saying like, why don't they have this anymore? They finally started making doll trunks again. So I finally actually ended up picking one up because I think I think they call it a shooting star deal, but it's basically like a daily like flash sale on different items throughout their collection. And one day the trunk came up for sale, and it was I can't even remember how much off it was, but it was significantly cheaper than it normally was. So I thought, okay, now's my time to finally pick up this trunk and see what it's all about. Because I just, as those of you know that have been following my channel for a while, I think my absolute favorite thing that Pleasant Company and American Girl have ever made are doll trunks. It's not even the dolls. Like, I swear to God, like my favorite item that Pleasant Company ever made was Samantha's trunk. I like literally like I like that more than Samantha herself. So I don't know. I'm one of those really weird people that loves organizing things. I love, things having their like being in their place, but also I'm that same person that will have like 5 t-shirts and 2 jackets on the floor like at any given time. So I'm not like one of those, like I have actual OCD. It's not the like, oh, I like everything to be really tidy, like fake OCD. It's the kind where it's like, I don't want to touch light switches. So yeah, it's very, very strange to be somebody that has OCD and likes things that, are meant to organize things. But also, like at any given moment, it might look like a tornado went through my bedroom. So anyway, I have always really loved organizational devices, and these trunks really just speak to a part of me that I don't know. There's just something that's very childhood like about a doll trunk to me. And maybe part of it is because I had like my favorite toy when I was a little kid that sadly like ended up at a yard sale like 30 years ago, but it was this little bear from the Lillian Vernon catalog, and I can't even show you a picture of it because I can't find him in the catalogs either, but I know he was real. I know he wasn't a figment of my imagination. I've been able to find the girl version, but it's basically this little red trunk. And we're talking like it's smaller. It's not an American Girl size trunk, but it was a little red trunk that had my name on it. And it was a little teddy bear. And he had all these little outfits. And I've forgotten some of them, but I know he had like a little raincoat, kind of similar to Molly's. And I don't know, it was just my favorite toy when I was a kid. So being able to get like a big red doll trunk is a little, I would say a lot a bit nostalgic. So, it was definitely time that I picked this up. But yeah, like the idea of like a little trunk to carry all your little things around in when you're a kid, or like your things for your doll or your teddy bear or whatever. I don't know. That's just like such a fond memory for me. So that's why I really, really love the doll trunks that American Girl and Pleasant Company have made over the years. And again, I really just always love the idea of not only having like an American Girl doll, but like one that you had so many outfits and accessories for that you needed a trunk to keep it all in. So yeah, I just really love the trunks. But I actually really kind of want to show you this somewhat up close today because I know some of you have been tossing around the idea of actually purchasing one. So I want to give you sort of my take on it because I do have quite a few of the original trunks. So I kind of want to talk about quality and size differences and things like that. So first off, it is, I would say, quite a bit lighter than the original trunks, and that's because I think it's largely made of plastic versus like wood and fabric and metal that the original ones were made of. Now, this one does have some metal parts on it. You can see here the clasps or latches or whatever these are called. These are metal. These brackets here that hold the handle are metal. We've got some metal hinges and a metal like frame for a nameplate. And most importantly, I feel like this really gorgeous American Girl like initial logo that's also in metal. And these are like really great quality. So another thing that I think I would say as far as like first impressions of this trunk is that I think they might have even talked about this in the description. I can't remember. But I will say, even though this is plastic, they talk about how it's molded to feel like leather. And I will say it really does kind of feel like it's wrapped in leather. I think you could maybe fool somebody, at least like, for the first few seconds, that this is actual leather. It really does feel like it. I can't describe it as far as like, I don't know, it's like a buttery feel almost. And it's got like a grain to it, which you probably can't see because I go to so much effort to like remove fine lines from my videos through some filterage, not a ton, but it's still my face, but maybe just a little bit nicer than it looks in person. But yeah, it's got a really nice like I don't know like leather terms. I'm not a big leather person, but it definitely has a very, very deceptive leather feel to it. So I am very, very, very impressed by the texture of these red parts here. I think as far as like, as feats of engineering go, I think it's really great. And as much as I don't love plastic as far as like the environmental implications of all of that, just as far as like a luxurious feeling, like I definitely think that this feels like a luxurious finish. It doesn't feel plasticky and cheap. Unlike this banding here, I do think that they probably could have spent a little bit more time figuring out a way to make this look a little bit nicer, but I think it's largely because I don't like this stark white on this warm red with the gold. I would say I wish they had just knocked this color back to either a super duper light pink color, one that like kind of goes with this red, or a very soft off-white color. I just think that this white is a little too blue for the rest of this trunk, but all in all, from the outside, I really love this. Now, I know there might be some complaints about like this thin strap here, but I have to say, as far as like the shape of this and the way it functions, Samantha's original trunk was exactly like this, except her handle was leather and this one is, basically like a vinyl plastic kind of material. But all in all, to feel this trunk from the outside and feel its weight and everything, this I think is excellent quality considering it's 2025, which sounds insane to sound out loud, but I will say, as far as like doll products go for children, this is a luxury product, and I'm very, very happy with the price of this too. It was, I think I paid somewhere around $125 for this, which I think is a banging deal considering like where we're at in the world right now. And again, it's got really nice action on the latches for this thing too. Certainly like no worse quality than Molly's and Samantha's were. You know, I do get some mild Samantha vibes in you know, messing around with this trunk. And again, we have sort of some of the iconic features of the original trunk. Again, metal hinges, and I guess most importantly, a metal emblem on the front, much like Molly and Samantha and Kirsten had in the original days. So I'm gonna give American Girl an A minus maybe for this, maybe an A. I think this is really great, and especially from the outside, recommend it. Let's have a look on the inside because I do have a couple of notes on the inside. Not many. Again, spoiler, I do really love this trunk, but let's go ahead and have a look at the inside because I know a lot of you have really contemplated getting this and have been really hesitant because of the amount of plastic that was used in making this versus, you know, the original days because the original ones were like mostly wood and fabric. But yeah, here is what the inside looks like. And I'm going to try and show you this without breaking my back or covering up the microphone. But again, I have to say, it's all in all pretty good. I think that they've made some improvements to the way things function. And it does feel like a little more solid and secure in some ways than like Samantha's original trunk did. Again, there are a few key differences. I'm going to try and go through every little detail kind of as quickly as possible. I know some of you are just like, shut the F up and show me the doll already. But we have a very similar layout to Molly and Samantha's original trunks, which I think is really awesome. I do think they dropped the ball a little bit on a couple of things in terms of logistics, and maybe I'm not thinking all of this out clearly. And if you look really carefully, you can probably see some reflections of my bedroom. We will not judge. We listen and we don't judge. But right off the bat, one of the things I want to say is I don't like that they changed the which side the doll goes on versus the drawers. And that is because for one like simple fact, which they kind of made up for, but I'm just going to show you quickly, is see how the drawers are on this side and the doll is on this side? When you close this trunk the way it's meant to be closed, if you want to have it stored horizontally so that the latches actually close traditionally like a trunk would, see how that goes like that? Like there's a clear top and bottom to this. Even though they didn't put feet on this side, it's very clear that like this would be the top if it's horizontal. And, you know, based on the orientation of these latches, you would open this trunk this way. So when you look at that, I think what they might have tried to compensate for is the drawers falling when, like, if you opened it like this way with a doll on the bottom, for instance, they don't want the drawers to like fall out because the original like Molly and Samantha trunks, those drawers weren't secured in there. So if you put the trunk like basically like this with the drawers facing downward like that, they fall out and they like dunk your doll. So I think that's maybe why they did it that way, but it's still like a little bit of a goofy orientation because I don't like, I mean, they did put a seatbelt in here for the doll if you have one in here, but I don't know. Maybe y'all can disagree with me. Maybe they're like, you idiot, we did it for this other reason that you're not seeing. But I just think that they could have done it the other way. I don't know. I think the doll should have been on its back, and I don't know. Maybe I'm completely stupid, but anyway, one thing I will say is that they've done that's really great in regards to that is that these drawers have pretty good action on them. I mean, considering, you know, they can't charge like $500 for these things. So they do have to have some thought into like how they can, you know, cut some costs with making them. I do think that they come out pretty easily. I will say they feel very plasticky. It's very like plastic on plastic. So it does have kind of a cheap feel to it as far as the action goes. But one thing that is really great, at least as of now with a brand new trunk, these drawers will not fall out. If you push them all the way in, they do kind of lock in place so that you can turn this upside down and the drawers, like I'm shaking this and the drawers aren't falling out, which I think is really, really great. I think that was a really smart thing to look out after when designing this thing, because that is a major problem with the original trunks, especially if you've ever tried to ship one with stuff in it. It just, everything goes everywhere. So I do think that this was a major, major improvement on their trunks. And again, we do have some metal parts in here as well. Everything that you see that's gold is actually metal. I feel like this is a QVC commercial. Look, if I'm not trying to convince y'all to buy stuff that y'all don't want to buy, I'm just giving you reviews so you can make your own decisions. But this is obviously not sponsored because this channel is like way too crazy for American Girl to even touch it. So um, yeah, I would say like the hinge action is really great. This is a nice tight hinge so that like when you go to open this, like you can open it part way and it doesn't like slam closed. There are a lot of really, really great improvements on this. I will say like my biggest nitpick in terms of quality is it is a little plasticky feeling. I kind of wish there was a different texture and color that we could have done for the white parts, like the plasticky white parts. It's not egregious by any means, but it really does feel a little bit more like cheap toy than the outside does. Another thing, again, it's personal preference. And I will say looking at it on camera, it doesn't look too bad. And in person, again, it's not like a huge crime or anything, but I don't love the pattern that they used inside. I think it's very, very busy. And as a general rule, I don't like things that are like blank white with stuff printed on them. I don't know. This looks a little bit craft project-y to me. Like, doesn't this look like something like from 2010's Pinterest, where it was like, I took an old doll trunk and used contact paper to line the insides? It's kind of what it looks like to me. So I wish we could have had something a little bit more interesting on the inside. I don't know that we needed the American Girl logo like 113,000 times printed over and over. It's giving like cheap Gucci. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. For me personally, I would have loved just more of like, if you think about like a lot of the patterns and stuff they're using on their website lately, like taking just the like their AG star logo, like without the actual letters, but just the star, just have like a nice, like loose, random pattern of stars on here. Maybe in like, I don't know. I'm sure they're thinking white because it like is neutral and goes with everything, but I don't see anything wrong with like a soft white or like, again, like my suggestion for the outside, like sort of like a light berryish pink or something. Again, I know not everybody likes pink. You can't please everybody, but yeah, I don't like this pattern. I think it's really busy and it creates this like weird, I don't know, like visual vibration I don't like. So one of the like when I bought this, I kind of thought I might actually, speaking of contact paper, cover this in contact paper and then just like basically load it up with stickers. Like I've kind of been wanting to buy a bunch of vintage like 80s and 90s stickers, like for bands or like Mrs. Grossman's stickers. I'm sure if you're my age, you probably remember those, but I thought it'd be really fun to just like completely cover it in stickers, and I might, but that's probably going to cost like $500 because vintage stickers cost a fortune these days, believe it or not. But I have to say, all in all, I really love this. Again, it's very, very similar format to a traditional doll trunk, which again is also very much like the original Pleasant Company trunks. There's enough metal on here to make me happy, which again, I'm very, very appreciative of these gold metal details. That I think that honestly was like the difference in this trunk feeling like a cheap piece of plastic versus actually a nicely made piece of doll furniture. Again, one like little nitpick I have to, I would love if I could take it apart. All of this stuff is like riveted together, so you can't like take a screwdriver and actually take this thing apart to paint it or like reline things. Like you can't take it apart without destroying it, unfortunately, because if I could take these apart, I would probably buy a few of them and actually customize them to match the different characters of American Girl that I like to collect. So like get one of these for Courtney and cover it with like 80s stuff, or like paint it like teal and purple. And then for like Nikki and Isabel, do like something similar to like to that for them. So yeah, they're not very customizable, which again, that's not the point of this product, but I would really like to customize these because they only sell one type of trunk. I think it would be really cool if you can make every one different. But yeah, that's a me problem. Actually, one thing that's pretty interesting, they do, like I said before, have this kind of like seatbelt thing in here for your dolls that has kind of like this clever little buckle on here that I think would be easy for kids to like put together, or if you're somebody that might have like arthritis or some disability where it makes it difficult for you to like pinch and push and pull. This actually, I think, again, I don't know a whole lot about ADA compliance, but I do think that this is actually quite easy for people to do. And it like, I think it locks together pretty well. So I do like this buckle on here. Again, I think they could have done a little bit nicer job with these actual straps. Again, they look a little cheap, Again, I'm a graphic designer and I've spent like an intense amount of time over my life studying color and color theory. And Again, it's I think that the whites on here are a little too white. I think they need to be knocked back to like a slightly warmer white as far as like color palette goes. But yeah, I feel like we've talked about this trunk for probably a little too long today. But that's all to say that I'm really happy with my purchase. And I have to say, okay, look, I'm jumping a little ahead in time, but I am planning to like downsize, as we all are probably, my doll collection a little bit in the first quarter of this year. I have way too much stuff, so I'm really trying to like get rid of like at least 25% of my doll collection. I would really love to get rid of half of it because there's so much of it. But one of the things I like to think about doing is just really paring things down to my most favorite things that I can actually enjoy so that everything that I have and spent money on, I actually spend time with regularly. So yeah, one of my goals is to try and buy like a few more of these. And like I kind of alluded to earlier, is like have one of these for Courtney's entire collection, and then one for the Hoffman twins entire collection, and then one for my mini me's entire collection. Well, my mini me plus the boys, I guess. So I'm kind of thinking about getting two more of these because, like I said, I'm happy with them. And the fact that I want more of them, I think tells you everything you need to know about them. So these do get my stamp of approval as somebody who is very persnickety and judgmental about doll stuff. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to give this at least an A minus, and I would definitely do this again. All right. And here is the reason I think you actually really want to watch this video, because I got a freaking doll for Christmas, of course. I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the video, but I get like, we're not like a huge gift giving family. And in fact, my partner and I do not exchange gifts. I don't think we've exchanged gifts in like literally like since like the first year we've known each other. So it's been like 20 years. So as a general rule, I think my family, and certainly like my partner and I, we buy things when we want them. We don't just like say, "Oh, let's go buy like a bunch of crap for each other that none of us want," and like have this big pressure of like guessing what's going to make the other person happy. Like neither of us like that. So we just like treat ourselves to something big every Christmas. Typically, some years it's like I don't really want anything, so let's just like cook a really nice meal and take a couple extra days off of work, and that's typically what we do. But we're a Christmas family, but we're not like one of those Christmas families that like decorates the house with like a million lights and puts the things in the yard. I love when people do that, but we're just, I don't know. I think we're always so exhausted by the time the Christmas season rolls around. It's like all we want to do is nothing. So, anyway, so I kind of have like normal Christmas with like my family. And we kind of like exchange some small gifts if we do that. But then I kind of have like my own Christmas now that I like do doll stuff. Like I kind of like to buy myself something kind of significant every Christmas, just, A, because I want to, and B, because it's kind of fun to do something for the channel every year. And many of you know I have been trying to figure out a mini me situation, because everybody that's cool in doll world apparently has a mini me of themselves in doll form. And I've really been struggling to do that. I've literally tried like 3 times, and I'm like, this freaking doll like doesn't make me think of myself like in the slightest. And it's hard. Obviously, it's hard to get a doll that looks like this, in American Girl form. And so I've been kind of basically trying to figure out like what works for me. Like, again, A, that reminds me of myself maybe when I was like 9 to 13 years old, and B, like a doll that I actually like, that I don't think has like a bunch of like dumb features that I don't appreciate. So yeah, without giving you the whole spiel, I know like some of you, especially if you watch this long, have probably seen my original attempts. Like the first attempt was buying a create your own doll from American Girl months ago, like earlier this year. And the doll is fine, but I probably talked about in the video, I didn't really like particularly the lip color on the doll. It was basically like bright orange. It was very strange like color. It was like a lipstick color basically. And I didn't think it went well with the skin tone, and the skin tone didn't go really well with the hair. So my mini me, I have not enjoyed basically since the day I got it. I kind of wish I had returned, or I guess I couldn't have returned it because they don't take returns on them. Then I tried to make one like custom with a like, I don't even remember. I think a Truly Me 121 doll, but it's like that doll looked nothing like me. And I ultimately decided that I wanted one that had an original Pleasant Company head sculpt. So that was going to leave me with either classic, Addie, or Josefina. And I don't personally love the classic head sculpt. I mean, Addie is not going to work for me, obviously, but I do think between classic and Josefina, something there could probably work. And I just don't particularly love how the classic head sculpt looks currently. So I didn't want to fall into another hole of like, okay, you wanted the original head sculpt, but it still doesn't look like an original Pleasant Company doll. So all that is to say, I ended up going with the Josefina head sculpt again. So I ordered. This feels really light after holding the trunk. I feel like this weighs nothing. I'm like, is there even a doll in here? So I did end up basically redoing my mini me that I tried to do all those months ago. So anyway, I ended up going with another Josefina head sculpt. I did it in the number 10 skin tone this time instead of number 5. My first one was number 5, which was the lightest. I obviously have incredibly light skin, so I just figured I would go with the lightest skin tone on the first one, but they're not using the right lip color for that skin tone. It's like, again, it's not a natural color. It's basically orange. It looks like lipstick to me. So it just, that doll didn't look right to me. And I think even though like the lightest skin tone and the lightest hair color probably represents what I looked like as a 9-year-old, I decided I'm gonna try and do a mini that's maybe a few years older, that's maybe a little bit closer to Nikki and Isabel's age. So maybe like tween, preteen, maybe 13, 14. So that's why I darkened the colors a little bit. So I went with number 10 just because that's the classic like Caucasian skin tone that Pleasant Company always used. That's what Molly, Samantha, and Kirsten had. So I felt like that would feel a little bit more like a Pleasant Company doll to me. And I don't think the Josefina had like, honestly, like new classic doesn't look any more like old classic than Josefina currently does. So like I said, I went with Josefina, and then I actually darkened the hair color too, just so that I could have a doll that was a little bit different. And obviously my hair has gotten darker as I have gotten older too. So this is the longest intro ever. Let me go ahead and start like unboxing this so like y'all don't end up watching something else. But yeah, I'm one of those people that is still convinced that I have blonde hair because I was blonde until I was a teenager. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is totally blonde, where it's like at best mousy brown. But I was talking to my mom about it the other day. She was like, dude, you're a brunette now. So anyway, this is my newly revised mini me doll, which I have to say I like a lot better than the original one. So as you can tell, I have already looked at him because I ha- have basically been under house arrest due to illness for the last few days. So I've had some time to like look at him and be sure I like him and stuff. I did kind of order him last minute and he arrived after Christmas, and American Girl didn't even apologize, but that's okay. This has been a really messed up Christmas, so I think it's appropriate that he arrived late anyway. So anyway, yeah, I just feel like this doll has like a little bit of a softer look than the last one that I have. And, maybe I'll just think of this as like me in the summertime and I get a little bit of a tan in the summer. Hello, I know that we don't exactly match, but I feel like the vibe is there, the essence is there, and I just kind of think of it as like maybe it doesn't need to be an exact match to me, but maybe something that I probably would have gotten and really enjoyed as, a 9-year-old that really loved dolls. So that's kind of how I think of him. And as per usual, like he arrived and his hair is like all messed up, and he has a like really funnily enough, this doll has like a super low hairline. I like more than the average doll. I think they're normally like up to like they cut the hair off here, but he basically has like a really long mullet, which hello, like this doll is definitely me in some aspects anyway. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep him. I actually really like him. I ended up again doing one green eye on the right and one blue eye on the left because I have heterochromia. I don't know if all of y'all can see it, but half of my right eye is green, and this is the closest I can get to like my actual natural eyes. So yeah, I went ahead and gave him a full green right eye because half of my right eye is green and my left eye is blue. But yeah, I feel like they did a pretty good job making him. I know they were probably in a rush because I ordered him the like literal last day of the deadline for getting a create your own doll to arrive in time for Christmas. I do think he has that thing that some of y'all really hate, and I honestly don't love it. I think that his right eye, I don't know if it's his eye socket is maybe a touch bigger so that the eye opens a little bit more, but his like it looks like he's got longer eyelashes in his right eye, which I have to say bugs me a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe I could send him to the hospital and see if I can get them to fix it, but they're probably going to charge me for it. So I don't even know if I'm going to bother, but you can let me know if that's a big deal to you or not. Like, is that a big deal? Like, I know that these dolls are supposed to have some sort of asymmetry, which I actually really do appreciate. I don't like when they're like, one of them's like looking like that and like they have one eyelash wrapped around the back of their head. But I think some asymmetry, I agree with them. I actually do think it makes the dolls look more natural and expensive and handmade, hand sculpted looking. So I don't like them to be like perfectly symmetrical. So you kind of take the L's with the W's when it comes to that. So I don't know. I think I'm going to keep him. It doesn't jump out at me unless I'm looking for it. And I have to say, I like his vibe. I'm really into him. I think this is officially my mini me. Now, one of the suggestions I would love in the comments, if you have one, is and especially if you have a mini, like if you have a doll that's like a mini me, whether it's American Girl, Barbie, or whatever, do you give them the same name as yourself? Like, do I name him Jonathan or do I give him, like, I named my last one Nathan because it was like, I don't know, a fun abbreviation of my name. So he was like his own person in a way. But do I name him Jonathan or do I name him something else? Do I name him like Megazord? I don't know. So give me some name suggestions in the comments, whether it's my name or something else. I would love to know. Maybe he can become our channel mascot. Maybe he'll be a cheerleader. Maybe he'll break his neck. So yeah, I already took him out of that jacket and t-shirt that the CYOs come with because I don't really like it. Now I'm at my parents' house in my middle age playing with dolls in my bedroom while they're doing God knows what. But yeah, so I don't have a ton of outfits to put him in. I did end up buying like my fourth American Girl of Today t-shirt from Nikki and Isabel's collection because I really like it. And this one will belong to him. I actually do have a random other outfit that I got for Christmas that I'm going to show you right now. Actually, I'll go ahead and put him in it and then we'll just talk about it. Oh, and real quick, in case you were wondering, they do have both the one of a kind stamp on the foot and the AG star like debossing on their foot here. Again, I'm sure this is just for like ease. Like, I don't know why. Like, if this all makes sense to me, obviously. If all the dolls have this, why not give it to the CYOs? And then obviously this little one of a kind thing here, I think is not only fun, but I think it helps the doll hospital know what kind of doll you have when you send it in. So you're not trying to get like a free CYO by like sending in some hacked up Truly Me doll. Oh, and also while we're on the subject, they did change the create your own doll boxes. This is different than the ones that they have been shipping out all these years. They don't have like the fingerprint design on it anymore. And I have to say, I actually prefer this box. They've done a good job updating this. To me, this looks a lot better. It's a lot more clean. It has more of that like luxury fashion look, which like who cares about luxury fashion? Like I do think that that Walmart Birkin thing is so hilarious to me that everyone's like, oh no, now how am I going to show people how much money I spent on a bag? But anyway, I do think that this is a very, very well made box as usual. And they've just kind of pulled back on some of the graphics, which I think gives it a much more luxurious, expensive feel. So very, very into this. They also most notably took off the sticker where you can like leave a birthday message or name your doll or whatever. And I have to say, I'm kind of glad they did it. I'm sure it was a cost cutting measure, but I didn't like the pressure of like having to customize the box as well. Cause I think especially for adult collectors that have these things, they're like, what do I put on here for when I get sick of this thing and want to sell it in 6 months? So I don't know. I just really didn't like the one of a kind, just like you. Like, I don't know. That's so annoying to me. So I'm glad that we don't have to worry about any of that anymore. So all good changes. No notes for me. I'm really, really happy with this box. Again, I think a major, major improvement in terms of like design. Oh yeah, I need to show you the accessories that came with it. But yeah, I've recently gotten a CYO doll. So this is a very new box. And I think this should probably squash the rumors that they're like discontinuing the create your own line because they obviously just reinvested in the packaging for everything. So I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, the accessories that came with this doll, really quick, I'll show you. I just kind of went with ones that I didn't already have. So I got I don't even remember what it's called. I don't think you care that much, but I got the one with like the pink backpack and like the furry like headphones, not furry, but like furry. So we've got like the pink cell phone case with the cell phone. Again, there are a million like YouTube channels that like show this stuff. So I'm not like going to go in depth on these accessories, but these little kitty cat ear headphones, which I love. Probably my favorite accessory, which is this little like, is it Chupa Chups? Somebody, I know one of you will correct me. Chupa Chup, lollipops. I love this. I probably will actually use this more than any accessory in here. I just realized they forgot to send me the eyeglasses with this thing, so I have a phone call to make. I got like the raspberry colored eyeglasses because this is just the ones I didn't have, but they didn't show up in the box. So anyway, I got the braces because they're free, so why not? And this little like bubble tea smoothie kind of thing. I don't really like these like drink accessories, but yeah, those are the accessories that I got with my mini, but he probably won't use anything but maybe the cell phone and a lollipop. Okay, so I did get this retired Truly Me boy outfit from a few years ago. I think that, is it festive formal outfit? I can't remember. I've been watching the listings on eBay forever, and I finally went ahead and got one because this is one of my favorite boy outfits they've ever made because it's so freaking cute, obviously, and it's very old and timey looking. I think you could definitely do like a historical doll with this outfit. You know, maybe from like 100 and something years ago. So I don't know. I just really liked it. I thought this would be fun, like just to have as part of my minis collection. So yeah, this is something I actually also picked up for myself for Christmas because I've wanted it for a long time. And I finally found a halfway decent deal on one on Mercari because these do sell for quite a bit of money. These boy outfits weren't super popular, obviously. And I do think that they're discontinuing the boys for that reason. So I don't think we're going to see any new boy dolls from American Girl. So I think when the two that they have currently available sell out, I think they're probably gone forever. So yeah, if you want a boy doll at this point, I think you basically have to do one in the create your own line, which, you know, I'm not mad about. I like this one better than, I can't remember if it's 103 or 104, but the Caucasian boy that they make that kind of has a similar haircut. I think that this doll is quite different. Again, I can't remember the number, but I do have both of the boys in their current line. And I have to say, I definitely like this one a little bit better than the Caucasian one that they have currently. So at least that's what I'm telling myself because I spent more than double on this. These create your own doll prices are getting kind of out of control. I hope they don't raise the price again because at some point they will probably be $250 and that's probably where I'm going to draw the line. So I'm just trying to enjoy it while I can. All right, that's probably going to do it for today. I do hope that y'all had a much better Christmas Mahana Kwanzaa than I did because this year was a little bit traumatic, I gotta say, but you know, it's only fitting, you know, a crappy Christmas for a crappy year. So I'm really happy that the new year has started and hopefully we can leave all of that behind. Be sure to check me out on Patreon if you want lots more doll shenanigans. There are hours and hours and hours of exclusive content on my Patreon, and it is a super great way to help support this channel so that I can keep making videos like this in the new year. I'm also on Instagram at I Dream of Johnny. I basically deleted my entire feed because I just like was a bunch of like crappy doll pictures. So I really only do stories on there. I almost treat it like a Snapchat account at this point. So if you want to kind of keep up with me on the daily basis, more or less, check me out on Instagram. And for now, I'm not doing TikTok until we find out if it actually gets banned or not. But actually, the best place to hang out with me is on YouTube. So if you want to keep doing this, I have lots of other videos like this one right here, and I hope to see you there. All right, later.